All right. When you go to Profiles in Courage, you of course go to Mitt Romney. He's in the UK. He gets interviewed by Brian Williams. He continues his usual lines about, we've got the right amount of legislation. It's not about legislation. This guy would have killed no matter what, yada, yada. It's absurd. None of it is backed up by the facts. Are you sure that he would have been able to amass that kind of weaponry if it was illegal, especially the AR, for AR-15, AK-47s, whatever? In his case, it was an AR-15. No, there's no reason to believe that he would have gotten it just as easily. In fact, if it was illegal, it would have been a lot harder. He's not some sort of, he wasn't some hardened criminal at the time. He wasn't a gang member used to dealing with weaponry. Would James Holmes have figured out how to buy an illegal semi-automatic weapon? Not necessarily at all. So it's all nonsense. But the clip I want to share with you has a great Romney-esque ending. Let's watch.
You said a few years back, quote, "I don't line up with the NRA." Is that still true?
Well, on every single issue, there are differences between myself and the NRA. On many issues, we share a common commitment to the Second Amendment and the right of people to bear arms, but I'm sure from time to time there'll be issues where they and I might part. I don't have one for you right now.
Yeah. I love politicians, man. They're unbearable. No wonder everybody's turned off to this election. They've done all this polling on how people are bored, they're disinterested. Let me give you two huge reasons as to why. One, I just gave you two, right? President Obama with his political speak on guns, and then Mitt Romney with look, I want to appeal to independence, so and I want you to know that I'm independent and free thinking. So of course I could disagree with the NRA, but at the same time I don't want to piss off my base, and I'd like to appeal to all the conservative voters. So I want to let you know that there's not a single thing I disagree with the NRA on now. Classic greasy Mitt Romney, classic politician. So that's one reason. Who can stand these guys? Who could bear these guys? The second reason is really a structural one. Think about how many people matter in this election. Is it 1 million people in the country? Maybe. I mean, is it 3 million? Maximum 3 million people out of 300 million. Why do I say that? First of all, if you live in a solidly red state or blue state, which is 38 of the 50 states, you are irrelevant. Everybody knows which way you're going to. All of us here are in California. We are all irrelevant voters. President Obama will easily win California. It will not be an issue. Same goes true for Alabama and Oklahoma, etc. You name it, for the red states, right? So all those people are eliminated. Then you've got 12 battleground states. But 70 to 80%, if you're being really optimistic and generous, 60 to 80% of those voters have already made up their minds. They're solidly Republican or Democrat, conservative or liberal. So you know that you're not going to be able to get those votes, right? So we're talking about roughly 30% of 12 battleground states. Those are the voters that Mitt Romney and President Obama are competing over. The rest of us are turned off to the election because our votes don't really matter. And then, of course, there's gigantic point number 3, which is that even those guys don't matter because all that really matters is money. Now, in a presidential election, believe it or not, that's actually less true because President Obama has so much free air. He's the president of the United States, can get himself press. He doesn't have to solely rely on ads. If you're a random congressperson in the middle of Missouri or Kansas, you need the ads. There's no way around it. And if you don't have the money, you're going to lose, okay? It's just true 93% of the time, literally, right? For presidential politics, it's different because you get so much free press and you're already so well known that evens the odds a little bit. But that's also a factor. So in the end, yeah, I mean, we get to choose between the two most obvious politicians of all time, and we don't even get to choose. And the guys with, the 196 guys who have given 80% of the super PAC money are the ones who actually decide the race. You put all this together, gee, I wonder why Americans can't get riveted by this election.